where the seas have been rippled. Dynamite airs and hits a 1.1 100,000 decrease from last week. I guess because there was no central draw, the world champion was barely on the show. And plus Mike Tyson wasn't there. So I guess that's a partial rundown whenever you have celebrity. View a celebrity, especially a Hall of Fame boxing legend like Mike Tyson, that will boost numbers. Sadly, AEW forgot the memo. Their structure of the show was a bit more desirable because it was primarily storyline focused and it was more one-on-one matches than tag team matches. So that's the positives out the way. I'm joking. Oh my god. This is for all the people that think that I only shit on wrestling shows. So the main event was Darby Allin versus Jungle Boy for the TNT title. With also more action, Adam Page defeated Ricky Starks with discus lariat, counters over the buckshot. There was Brian Cage coming in. There was a tough ankle sprain I saw over Ricky Starks. They didn't sell it over. There was a powerbomb over the turnbuckle. It was mainly like more offense coming off Hangman. I don't even know how they're pushing this over, and the Dark Order is now babyface. I still don't get the structure of this. If they're with a heel name, they turn babyface, and they're still called the Dark Order. You don't have neutral naming, so if the faction turns babyface, there's more of an organic feel into that. I still don't know. Thanks, now they're primarily good guys, and they're helping a guy out that's mainly over as a babyface. You still don't change the name. I don't get it. They don't even do anything cultish. Like, they're Dark Order, and they haven't been threatening since the passing of Ron Harper. John Huber. Taz cuts a promo just saying, "Watch your back." Hook then comes in and gets a chop. He gets hit. I haven't noticed Hook is without a hoodie. Oh, man. So he just looked like he was, like, project built. No, looks thin, but barely a viable physique. So that's technically it. It was a short notice match with very little going on. The same thing with Penta Zero Mero against Trent. And the ref was like, Trent? Because it's a question mark. Get it? Because he was released from WWE and he got Trent, and he's called Beretta back. You couldn't think of a cool name. Like, you can just name it just Trent for short, right? Like, he has to make it like Trent. Like, who's going to understand the joke? He is, like, there's no gimmick into Trent. And Orange Cassidy is just there, looking like all he drinks is milk in his life. The match was, I would say that they were doing too much moves over the sake of doing moves. Like, there was no central story in the match, other than just spots over from the barricades, just like we saw the Cody Rhodes match. There was 2 Canadian destroyers built over for rest spots, a superplex, a powerbomb. Still not the finish. Package pile driver over a distraction from technically Penta's manager. Thought it was an overbooked, overly spotted mosh pit of like nothing going on. In my opinion, the match should have been better, especially for Pentagon, because I've seen his matches before, and he can have entertaining matches. Then we have Jim Ross interviewing the Pinnacle. Wardlow credited Chris Jericho cutting one of the best promos of his career last week, mentioning he stuttered and stammered over his lines, uttering Wardlow's name, and just saying that he did a grating promo, and it was better than the Wet Dreams promo over Jericho's case. Jericho's was just more energetic and personality, because both the Inner Circle and Pinnacle cut over promos, but I thought like the Inner Circle was more effective because technically it was in the ring, so they had more of a crowd reaction and it was more interaction because they were outside. Santana was the only person that sounded intimidating. So that's the positive part, I guess. So average promos, MJF makes it sound intelligent, but he always feels like a mid carder, even though he has the ability to look over as a star. That's all I'm gonna say. Decent promos. That's all. That's all I'm gonna say. Next up, we have the AEW Women's Title. Hikaru Shida against Tai Conti. This was a mistake of AEW's part. Why are they still giving a woman that barely draws in over in the show? Like, come on. Why you keep pushing the belt over for Joshi chicks? I don't get it. You're getting Riho to get over from Nyla Rose, and you get Hikaru Shida to do the same thing. Like, it makes no sense to me, in my opinion. Like, it was just exploder suplex, knee strike, roundhouse kick, and they did decent times trying to actually hype up over the wrestling style and how much Tai Conti training all her way to get to this point. There was a hammerlock DDT and a knee strike, and she hit a Falcon Arrow. It was just an average back and forth, but Tai Conti did lose. From a fireman's carry neckbreaker into the Damashi. So that's all I can say. Decent match. The belt should have went to Tai Conti. I just think you need a transitional champion because you've been having these chicks with long reign and they're not drawing any attention to AEW. It's mainly the women that are not champion that are drawing in more. Like, more people are talking about the unsanctioned match involving Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa more than what the hell's going on with Hikaru Shida and how many days she's been women's champion. I think it's been over like 11 months now. And after that, Britt Baker came up with a ranking list and calling that she's undisputed number one ranked woman, so why aren't they issue title shots? I checked the number one ranks, and Jungle Boy is like number two ranked in the ranking system. Like, shouldn't the contender choose what titles he should be going over? Jon Moxley's not even at number one. And you don't even do like number one contenders matches or short tournaments or battle royals over the top 10 guys that are like there's no contendership. There's no authenticity whenever it comes to these guys getting over. So because now they're not going to be taken seriously. At least like they did building blocks for like Brian Cage and Lance Archer taken as these big obstacles for Jon Moxley to get over to. They're not doing that for guys like Darby Allin over guys like Jungle Boy, even though Jungle Boy is like forever mid Carter in my opinion. So we also had Billy Gunn. Yes, Billy Gunn, because he's part of the Nightmare family in association with the Gun Club, and I don't care. They already have so many like inner fighting storylines that that are so disinteresting. Like, at least like MJF and Jericho can talk, so you can have an average back and forth against two pretty alright talkers. And they do more of a central buzz than Cody. I'm just saying. And the match was just average. Like, QT Marshall has no build. No, no look. Like, he just looks like a stepdad, and the man's like 35. Over the shoulder, running hits over with the fist. Like, Billy Gunn was all right over in the match. The guy's like older than him, and he looks better than him. How can you have a man in his 50s looking better than a man like at least prime condition in the company? Like 35 is like prime age as a pro wrestler, in my opinion. Like, come on. Big pile driver spot, barely an attempt on the pin. Then there was fighting involving Colton Gunn and Austin Gunn over the outside involving the factory, even though it took a while until they even did outside interferences. And then it involved with QT Marshall using a Death Valley driver to get the victory. Carmelo took a wooden chair to the head and he no-sold that crap. Like, why isn't he looking like a caveman? This guy, like, they always get guys that look like stars, and they're not stars. I don't get it. But that's the segment. I'm still disinterested in the storyline involving the Nightmare family and the factory storyline, because how like lack of any legitimacy QT Marshall has, and they're not doing much to at least hyper emphasize that this is a big deal for the Nightmare family or the factory. Like, this just happened weeks ago. Like, I don't care even how many times they said the S word. Forgettable match. Then we have finally Powerhouse Hobbs versus Christian Cage. This match was weaker than his match against Kazarian in his debut just a few weeks ago. And I guess it's because the lack of chemistry sake. Like, I can only name, like, barely any spots that happen. Like, Sunset Flip Powerbomb, a drop kick, that kick Christian did over in the corner. There was at least a record-breaking 2 reversals at the kill switch. It took a while until Team Taz got involved, but it ended with Christian off a reversal from an over-the-shoulder spot into a kill switch. Also, Moxley and Eddie Kingston ran over Kenny Omega's trailer with a truck, and it looked less effective because nobody was in the truck to sell over an oh my god moment like that. And there's like, you made them look like stooges. Oh, they're not in the truck! They're not in the truck! Like, what, they hit the wrong truck? Did they leave before they noticed the truck coming? Like, it came into looking cool. Like, they're, oh my god, they are trying to kill Kenny. Moxley wants his belt back. No, it makes him look like stooges. Like, it's so stupid. I'm not that compelled, and it's like, who got the high-selling stores? And like, look, like, the Elite can't make promos to save their goddamn life. Like, someone tell me why they're so popular back in, like, 2016. No charisma off these guys, man. Yeah, it's like, even, like, NWO in their weakest, it's like, okay, I can at least expect something entertaining of Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. Like, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, like, they'll have sometimes a lackluster match, but you get that cool factor and just the invested promos that get you, like, more invested into seeing these guys fight each other or get their asses kicked because they're douchebags, and usually you like whenever the douchebag gets hit. So that's what you suspect. Like, people like those stories when the bullies that overtake the place get beat up by the protagonist of the story. That's what made NWO successful. I don't see that off the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega. Like, they suck. The storyline sucks over what a fat dude and a crack addict. Like, Eddie Kingston looks like he runs a bodega, and Moxley looks like he does crack behind it. Come on, man. And then we had just lackluster. We have 2 lackluster matches. Like, Pentagon shouldn't have been that bad, and Christian Cage just had a good return match. But I understand it was possibly not the right guy that he had a good one-on-one match with, in my opinion. And our main event was all right. This is the second time in the month that the TNT title has main evented, or the third. I think it's the third. God damn, they had John Silver, Darby Allin, then they had Matt Hardy, Darby Allin. Now, Jungle Boy Darby Allin. Darby Allin's more of a main eventer than Jon Moxley. I mean, and then Kenny Omega, the world champion, and he's getting sold over for a different promotion's belt when the AEW title barely has that much legitimacy to begin with. Who's their most notable champion currently? Just Moxley and Jericho? I'm sorry, what's the most notable champion for Impact? Kurt Angle? Styles? Sorry, there's more. Sting? Come on. They should be pushing over Christian or Sting as an authority figure. They need to make AEW more important. Stop with this crossover crap. Get your show over. And the match was just average, in my opinion. Like, it was just small dudes wrestling it. I'm not a big fan of this over in the main event, unless it's an overarching story. Other than Darby Allin getting help off Lance Archer after Lance Archer literally been antagonistic over the last few weeks, interrupting Sting's promo, saying he got a number on him and he can interrupt him however he wants. This blatant disrespect, looking like he wants to prove a name for himself, beating up a legend. And then the hype factor is he helps out Darby Allin. Why would he do this if he has a man like Jake the Snake Roberts, like a lone wolf character? Wouldn't he tell him to mind his own damn business? Like, what? Jake the Snake with moonshine or something? Always looking like he's in some type of drug every promo? Oh, God, he hasn't had a good promo, in my opinion, since he first came on the AEW Dynamite when he was doing the Caesar promo on Cody. Like, you don't see that cool factor anymore. He looks like he just relapsed or some crap. And the match was just average, if you wanted to know. Hurricane Arana, there was a reverse Hurricane Arana off of the apron. Like, everybody does an apron spot in AEW. It looks less threatening. A coffin drop over the outside. It still ended over a roll-up, even though these guys are the same height. Why not get over off your finish over a guy the same height as you? Bring a cruiserweight belt. Because if you make your secondary title feel like it's over such little fry stars like Darby and Jungle Boy, the belts are not going to be taken that seriously. And why are Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky now tagging and beating up Darby Allin? Sting came by and just assaulted everybody, even though it was a 5-on-1. Like, Team Taz and Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page came out, and they all fled because the Stinger got the bat. Oh, God, he's old and decrepit. Like, stop it. Like, they don't try to sell over that, oh, he's old. Like, it's no factor because, I'm just not feeling this episode, in my opinion. But how you felt about Dynamite? Did you think it was good? I know it sounds like I'm a bit disinterested, but, like, there was no big factor into this other than selling over to blood and guts. And now people have a reason to watch Rebellion, because the AEW World Champion is doing more to get buys for Impact than he does for his own company show. And you guys declined by 100,000 from just last week. You guys should be increasing every week. You're a new show. Come on, I should be expecting a bit more. People are getting excited that they hit a 1 million again. They decline 100,000. If they make structured shows like this again, they might just hit only a 900,000, like they did when Shaquille O'Neal was in the show. They shouldn't be expecting this when they have no competition now on Wednesdays. But that's how I felt. Thought it was a lackluster episode than last week. Even though they had more one-on-one matches, some of them were really lackluster, and I thought they were just overdoing spots, even though they were barely getting any reaction. The Pinnacle promo was fine, so was the Inner Circle promo, even though I thought it was wasting too much time for Chris Jericho to get some wording in to actually make his match feel more important than it already is. But that's it. Should I review Rebellion? Don't really know. That's it coming from me. Like, comment, subscribe.